Thanks for having me, Emma. I'm Laurel Coyle, and I grew up in Rockland County, New York, which is about 45 minutes north of Manhattan. I graduated from Scranton in 2011 and loved it. I still kind of think about it as some of the best 4 years of my life. While I was there, I was super involved in the comms department, which was great for me, as well as like the programming board and volunteering on campus. I lived on Quincy Avenue and named my dog Quincy because of how great my memories are from there. But for your first question, why did I choose Scranton? If I'm being honest, I thought I wanted to go to school right outside of Manhattan. I was like, I need to be in Manhattan because I need an internship there, and that's what I'm going to do. And I stepped on campus. I remembered it was a gorgeous spring day, and my parents took me, and I stepped on campus, and I walked up the Commons, and I was like, just kidding, this is where I belong. And it was this weird feeling of I just knew. I got to meet a lot of the professors and teachers and talk to a lot of folks in administration and make sure that it was the right decision for me. And just after meeting with everyone and then seeing folks on campus just like hanging out on the green and being with their friends, I was like, this is what I want. So it kind of was one of those like magic moments where I was like, yep, I'm going to go here.
No, and that's super relatable because honestly, just by you saying that, I had the same feeling. I applied to colleges. I did early action before I applied to, regular timing, but I applied early action to 5 schools and all of them were south other than Scranton. And I applied to Scranton just for the sake of my sister went there and I was like, oh, I know it. And then blink of an eye, and I was like, I apply to all southern schools except this one. And for some reason, I don't even want to apply to more northern schools. I want to go there. And I've been happy ever since. It's great.
Yeah.
But were you always a comm student or did you change your major? I don't know if you've already said this, but were you always a comm student coming into college or did you kind of have a transition phase and want to change it?
Yeah. I was decided comms when I came in. I didn't pick my track yet, but I knew that I wanted to do something in the communication space, whether that be advertising or PR or something. And my dad, when I said I was going to do communications, was like, what? No, you need business. So I did a business minor to satisfy him. And then I did my kind of tracks in PR and advertising. It was a good complement to each other. I think they both kind of go hand in hand a little bit, and learning the advertising end when you're doing PR is critically important, I think, to understanding the full story about when you're pitching something, what you're doing. So it was great. Also, I knew I wanted to study abroad. That was something that was big for me. And I picked the U because that was a part of their, educating the whole person. That's part of what they want. So being in communications, it really allowed me to then take my kind of other core classes abroad. It worked out really well with kind of what I had envisioned for my 4 years there.
That's awesome. And that's really lucky because a lot of people come into college and they're like, I don't know what I want to do. Or, I'm right up there with you. I was always communication. I did switch my major. I was originally journalism and then I did PR, but I just knew I wanted to do communication.
Yeah.
You know what? Everyone needs communication. You will never walk into a job or a company that doesn't have that.
Exactly.
Things.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask, what were some of your favorite classes that you remember taking, if there were any?
Yeah. I think that, and it's something funny that you just said too, like any company you walk into needs communications. Right now, I work for JPMorgan Chase, and I run communications for our Chase branches across the country, which is like still a job that I can't believe I have. And the reason I have it is because of Scranton, because I learned how to think there. And not just think in a communications perspective, but I learned how to think strategically. I learned how to problem solve. I learned how to understand people and their needs. And so the question about what were my favorite classes, I can't tell you what one of my favorite classes was, because I had a ton, but I can tell you that what I learned from my professors and, Dr. Pavlik and Dr. Smolowitz and Dr. Muhammad and Professor Reed, like I ate up everything that they taught me because they were so well educated, and they wanted you to be able to leave Scranton and think for yourself and understand. Obviously, the grammar exam was one of those things that I did not love taking. And Dr. Pavlik will tell you that I had to take it twice, and barely passed. But now I write for a living, and I write things that either get published or that people have to recite or say or listen to. And it's critically important. So those skills are important. But I think what I took away most was my professors cared about me. They cared about my well-being and my success. And they taught me how to be a well-rounded person and how to think for others and think through situations. And that's something that, as a communications professional today, half my job is problem solving. And half my job is figuring out, okay, this is what they're telling me they want, but what do they really need? And I learned that in my classrooms and also outside of my classrooms at Scranton. That's something that I think when they say educate for the whole person, they really do. And it's as much of what you learn in those four walls as what you learn in your extracurriculars, what you learn with your friends, what you learn at the bar on the weekends. So I think it all kind of ties together.
Yeah, it does. And honestly, I mean, everything that you've said so far is 100% relatable, because especially what you said about the connections that you make with like the relationships that you have with your professors and stuff like that, you still remember all of them, and there are people that you could reach out to if you needed to. And it's something that I appreciate, that I could reach out to Dr. Pavlik, Dr. Muhammad, you know what I mean? You could just, hi, I need help, and they're right there. And that's not something that a lot of people can say for the connections. They're educators.
Exactly. And they know you by name. You're not a number at Scranton. You're a person, and they know about you, and they know about your family and your friends and what you're going through. And, they know if you're hungover on a Monday morning or if you skip class on Thursday. Like, they know all of that. And even even with joining this advisory board, I've been out of school now for 10 years, and I get on a call and Dr. Pavlik's on, and she's like, "Oh, Laurel, show us your dog Quincy," because she knows me. Because you continue those connections. They don't just end when you leave campus. They're there forever.
Yeah. And that's something to really appreciate.
Yeah.
Going off of that, though, I want to ask you a question about the advisory board, but I really want to know what was your favorite thing about being at the university and being a comm major? Because I know you explained a bunch, and those are all amazing things, but is there any one significant thing that you're like, this is why?
Yeah. I think my favorite thing about Scranton is the relationships I built. Mm-hmm. And that is with my professors, and it's also with some of my best friends for life. And then the people that were in my life for those 4 years, and they made such a meaningful impact, and they made me who I was, but they might not be in my life anymore. Yeah. I think that Scranton is a family, and you're always a part of that family, regardless if you are on campus or not. And that was one of my favorite things. And I think what I particularly liked about the communications department, because remember, I mentioned that I was in the business school for my minor, the communications department, you really are a family, because it is small, and your professors do get to know you, and they do give you that one-on-one care. And even if it's not, I remember I met with Jack Strain once because I was doing horribly in my computers class. And I was like, I just don't know why I can't get the knack of this. And he just sat down and talked to me, not about communications, but because I was his student and he cared. And, same thing with Dr. Pavlik. I remember crying in her office once because I think the boy that I was dating did something and I hated it. And she just listened to me, not about school, but because she was there.
She always says that I'm the mother of everyone. And if
Yeah.
to even rewatch this, you know, I don't even know who's going to see this, probably a bunch of people, but they will always agree because, you know,
Yeah.
they are so personable,
Right.
is what I mean to say.
Yeah. And I think that was my favorite thing, that you felt like you were part of a family. And I think for people leaving their family for the first time or going to a new place or doing something, like immediately you had that. And it stays with you all 4 years, from the professors you have when you're a freshman to when you're graduating and you're going off after school. They're still there. And that's one thing that I think Scranton has that not a lot of other universities do, and specifically the communications department. The people there care about you, want you to do your best, and want you to succeed, and that's unparalleled.
1000%. Going back to what you said about being a board member and stuff, since you are a Comm Media board member, what made you decide to give back to the U?
Oh, I've always wanted to. I've been involved in a few things that the President's Business Council has done. I've done a few events there, and I've met with a few students. I've done a mentorship program before, and there are so many ways that you can give back to something. But Scranton gave me so much. Scranton made me who I am, and it made me successful. It gave me a confidence that I didn't have before, and it really just taught me how to be a good person. And those are things that I can't kind of repay in any way. So I try to do it in multiple ones. So when this opportunity came about to join the board, I jumped on it because of course I want to give back to the place that gave me so much. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I know the whole faculty in the Comm department, they need people like you because they appreciate that because of
Yeah.
like the family environment that the Comm department has. It's one like no other, honestly.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask, what were a few things that you thought about while looking for an employer after graduating?
Yeah. So I was very lucky with my career search. I was an intern at JP Morgan and then got hired during my senior year for that. But I think we keep talking about this theme of family, and I think that that's what Scranton was for me: a family and a open and honest place to be, and a comforting place. And when I was looking for an employer, I knew I wanted to do communications. I knew I wanted to do something different and fun. And JP Morgan has a lot of the same tenets that Scranton does. Do your best, do everything to the top notch, be a good person, service others. Like, that's something that was really important to me. And I also knew that JP Morgan was involved in the communities that they do business in, similar to Scranton, and that giving back aspect. So I think that's what I was looking for, above all else too. Like, it was a great opportunity. I thought that Scranton prepared me for it, and it was something that was going to be challenging. And because quite frankly, when I first started at Scranton, I was like, oh, maybe I'll do fashion PR or I'll do this. And then I started working for the biggest US bank, and sometimes I still like pinch myself that I'm here and have done this, but they've got a lot of the same type of core values, I would say, that Scranton does, and kind of all tying back to being a good person and doing the best that you can.
Awesome. What's the best advice you can give to, well, honestly, going off of that, because a lot of students, go to college to find a job and get
Yeah.
the real world, and that's something that you were taught being at school. That's something that helped you prepare for your career. That's something that you were looking for in a future employer. What's the best advice you could give to any current or future student that would help prepare them for the real world? Like advice that you wish that you had gotten, if you have.
Yeah. Advice I wish I got. Okay, so two things, and they might sound counterintuitive.
Totally okay.
The first is to learn as much as you can. To take the course that you might not be sure you would do well in, but you want to know, like, I don't know, the history of religion or something that might interest you, and do do the thing that scares you, because that will help push you out of boundaries. Because what I've found is that a lot of like working is pushing you out of your boundaries, and taking on assignments that you might not be well prepared for, but you need to do, and things like that. And Scranton has so much to offer. Take advantage of it. Join clubs, join groups, join the programming board, do something that is outside of your classroom,
Right.
because that will help you too. And the other thing that's now is going to sound counterintuitive is have fun. Like I I look back on the times that I was stressed in college about something, and there are plenty of times that are stressful in college, but the things that I stressed out about, my God, like I kick myself now, because now my life is crazy stressful every moment of every day. And I wish I had more fun. I mean, I did. I had tons of fun, sometimes too much fun. But I would never really admit that. But just have fun, because college is more than just the four walls. College is going out with your friends on the weekend. College is, enjoying a sunny day. College is skipping a class or two when you don't really want to go. Like, that is what it is. And I wish that I wasn't so serious half the time, because I think I would have learned a little bit more too, if I had done some of those things. So I think it's twofold. One, push yourself, and take everything Scranton has to offer, every class you want, do the things that scare you, and really take it all in. I mean, we've got world-class professors and all of that. And then the other side is just don't stress out. It's all going to be okay. Have fun. You're in school, and you're going to make it.
Yeah.
Because you went to Scranton, you're going to make it.